Friends, hello! I'm sure that you won't just listen to and watch today's video all the way through, but at the end, you'll also send it to your friends and relatives. Because today we'll be talking about some very high-profile events. You all remember the Ministry of Defense scandal, eggs for 17 hryvnias, then the winter and summer jackets and more. The National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine and the Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office are investigating, and the Bureau has released the first wiretap files. Yes, small fry, but still very telling. And today we'll listen to it together. I'll play you a clip and immediately comment on it right after. Let's not drag it out, let's get started right away.
Yes, it will.
We'll need to calculate one more so that it becomes cheaper because it's beef.
One
will be expensive, so you'll be cutting out only the lean meat from the sows. And you'll grind it half with beef. You need to track and record how much there was and how much was used yourself.
Of course, listen, but can't you just ask to buy some fat? Because this lard is used for that, you can add more fat to it and it will be cheaper.
Well, isn't it true for us? What should we put out for you?
Well, then ask. If it's diluted, then, here we take for 100 kilograms of lard, 40 kilograms of lard and 40 of fat, and 60 of lard. It turns out cheaper that way. We send all of this to the army. That's how we did it. Well, ask about the price of fat, then we can dilute it.
You know, when I hear things like that, all my fuses blow. I boil inside, I just boil inside. Women, not women. You can't call them anything other than creatures. Let's leave aside the fact that it's fat, that it's unhealthy. Right now we're not even talking about health. These people, not only are they poisoning the soldiers of our army, they're doing it with a completely calm voice and the same expression on their faces. So basically they inject beef with fat to increase its weight. In short, they're just making money off of this. We don't know the exact day this happened. It could have been the day of arrival or when major battles occurred. So someone is risking their life in the trenches, sacrificing their health for Ukraine, while someone else is calmly doing things like this in the rear and then goes on to talk about what great patriots they are. And notice I'm saying this in Ukrainian, addressing all those who are stirring up this issue in Ukrainian. Two scoundrels, in fact, are destroying our army from within, robbing it and poisoning it. And do you know why? They're poisoning? Because they think those soldiers won't come back from there. What difference does it make what they feed them there? They won't be around anyway. To put it mildly, do you think they have something else on their minds? No, that's exactly what's on their minds, and now we're going to keep listening. This clearly shows the failure of the state and the current system, and all the reform proposals I make are aimed precisely against this. Because if you remove these two bastards from there and put two other bastards in their place, they'll do the same thing. That's how the system works. We've just started, so let's keep listening.
So what about you over there? I don't know. We're watching. They returned one pallet to us. Well, I'll pack it for the army now. It'll go to the army. It's good for the army. Yeah.
And here, please, these 3 trucks didn't go today. They say they don't want to take it. I can't understand why they don't want to take it. They want deboned meat. I explained to them that, well, the deboning can't provide the volumes they need.
So who are they?
The total parts are 14350281.
And what's the reason they don't want to take it?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe there's too much water or something.
Wait for my call, because I called someone there and now they're going to post some announcements. You give what you have. And no talking, no conversations. That's it. Everyone takes. I sit here and watch. In the church, I just watch.
Did you hear that just now? 2 other creatures, already 2 men. And from this excerpt, you can immediately take several theses. To the army, P-Day, I mean, translating to the army will go, but what is this army anyway? Who even are they? Yeah, so what? They're sitting in the trenches, giving their lives. Let's criticize them. Let's harass them. Then, as you heard, they tell him a military unit refused to take it, and watch the reaction that follows. They say there's plenty of water, so what do? They inject water into the meat, as I understand it, just like those who dilute it with fat to increase the weight. Again, they're poisoning our soldiers and stealing money. And the last one was simply a masterpiece. Yeah, I'll call someone right now, the one who's in cahoots with that scum, the one they're laundering money with. And those are the kinds of military commanders we have who, don't doubt it, are in collusion with them while they just throw the guys into the slaughter, meat assaults and all that. Cannibals, as I call them, they're in collusion, they're making money and, well, making money isn't really the right word. They're cutting up the money, profiting from the war. Of course, today they'll be showing terrible hostility on all social networks and everywhere else, saying that we need to fight Russia to the end. No negotiations, Trump is a scoundrel. Oh, it's good that Zelensky stood firm in the Oval Office. We need to fight for another 5 years. I'll be injecting water into the meat, feeding it to the guys, but I'll be getting kickbacks and I'll be making great money. And they tell me now they're buying their 7th or 8th apartment, various sizes, spending $300K to $500K daily or weekly sending cryptocurrency. And they're buying real estate there in Dubai. And there are these little kings everyone is taking, but these guys didn't want to. You know, I've hated this since childhood. When everyone does something, it means you have to do it too. They pushed it on everyone, but then there were a few people, probably like me, who didn't want it, didn't want to take that crap, that poison. He already knows how to influence everything. People. That's the reason our country ended up like this, including the war. When everything is set up like this, it always ends in some kind of apocalypse. If not one, then another, or even a third. If not war, then something else. Or maybe the war would have happened later, but we can't go on living like this. Anyone who says this is normal, that we'll just enter the classroom and swap out the bad ones for good ones. Inside this mess, they'll be doing exactly the same thing. It's not the people who need to be changed, it's the system that needs to be reduced. I immediately criticize, I give a solution, radically reduce the amount of government, the number of issues that another person decides, and ensure complete transparency. I'll tell you even more. There are individual sponsors, volunteers selling drones via closed tenders at unseen prices. According to several rumors I've heard, the price there is inflated 3 to 5 times. And often they also collect charity from everyone, as you know, and very often. We will discuss this separately later this week. On the days of the worst shelling, when children and many people are killed, they come out the next day and say, let's collect for revenge, for everything else, let's do fundraisers. And they smile and laugh, their lives are in full swing because this is their time to shine when all this filth, all this scum has brought them to the top. Ukraine is gravely ill and needs treatment.
Hey, 170 eggs?
870, and that's me lowering it?
Yeah, you'll lower it more and now change the butter and change the bread, right?
Look, we set the weighed butter at 230. Packaged is 240. Sandwich butter is 230.
That's what happened. We ate that much.
Not 600 to 6,685.
Bread and now bread. Adjust it with bread.
That's when bread will be expensive.
Long lasting, this kind of bread and that kind of bread. Increase everything with bread. We have 4 types of bread there. Increase the long lasting ones.
All right.
I can't. Look, open this catalog. Remember, I have it written here, the new one for 870. We made the eggs and redid everything for 145. That's all we need. We also need to change the potatoes. We have potatoes at 22, but we need to set it to 16.
And the potatoes. Let me show you. Fresh potatoes are 19. Fresh potatoes are 19.
So we need to set it to 16. And what about increasing something or increasing something else? Just a little.
Add just a little.
Play with these fish, go with the canned goods, play.
Yes, canned goods, and for the bread.
Bread, let's go with long-lasting bread.
Long-lasting bread, yes, I need to add that. Yes, 80, no, add it.
Decrease.
No, I need to add and listen in the studio. No, it will be 87, just like it was.
So write fish back, up to the fish.
I need to add.
Let's take this big fish. Maybe it's better.
Shaker-maker. 17 eggs, butter, remember? And the eggs we count one by one. Reznikov, remember when he defended all that? He joked about how eggs are sold by the dozen everywhere, but he counted them by weight or individually and laughed about it? So, according to rumors, let me tell you this. According to rumors, the Americans demanded that he be fired. The American intelligence service has had this information for a long time, and the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine is controlled by the Americans. Now is simply when they could discover and add this. Actually, they've been tracking this for a long time. You know how it works. They find out about a case of corruption, they set up wiretaps and surveillance, and they don't make an arrest the next day. They can monitor for up to a year to gather information and study the involvement of corrupt officials and other scoundrels in these processes. This is important work. Eggs, butter. They sit there manipulating things, saying, let's set this amount or maybe that amount, so the numbers work out the way they want. Everything worked out well, and everyone was satisfied. I'm asking you again, do you really believe that people like that want the war to end? They would fight endlessly, their lives remain unchanged. There are air raids, and sometimes I lose sleep at night because a Shahed drone triggers the alarm, but I still come to work with a clear conscience in the morning. I'll pad the fat with water, count the eggs one by one, buy the kilo with some butter, I'll fudge the numbers here and there, and everything's just fine for them. Then the one loved by an aggressive minority, not many thankfully, will appear. That's what I'll call them. Vladimir Alexandrovich Zelensky will recall telling Americans in 2022 or 2023 that all corrupt officials were gone and Ukraine had no more corruption. And do you know the talking points, the memos that the president's office hands out? Say that there's corruption in the West too. It's just called lobbying here. No, they're partly right, but we're talking about the very top level, when you need to get into some multi-billion corporation or some military holding, a weapons manufacturer at the state level, to solve some issues. These are super high level things, but if someone tells you that there are even higher level issues than these, in America, or even in the so-called decaying Eurozone, as many call it, and rightly so, there is corruption and lobbying. It's not at that level at all. On that level, there's nothing like that even close. And that's why I was the first to say that Ukraine needs a State Department like in America. It's headed by Musk. Because if we had seen these lists right away, I would be happy to lead it. I'd need Special Forces security. When you see these lists, it's clear. Especially for entrepreneurs, you immediately spot the manipulation and understand how it works. That's Reznikov. Maybe he can fool the naive on camera. But Reznikov has always been involved in shady dealings, and the mayors are no better. Don't get the wrong idea. It's just not time yet to tell you about the kilograms and everything else. It's a shame. And today, it's the year 2025, April, the month. Imagine Ukraine, all of us. And what's most frightening, offensive, and outrageous is that the military have been taken advantage of all this time. After that, it's good to watch, but I can't include it here due to YouTube's rules. This is the harshest forced conscription, with people beaten and even killed. They mobilize people only to treat them worse than dogs. And then they send him on a meat assault, so that he's gone and can't tell anyone anything. And you know what often happens next? There are rumors going around that they have a card, and some units take it and withdraw money from that card. Or they say, if you don't give me part of that money, you'll go on an assault. If you share well, you'll get to sit somewhere in the rear. And after the war, you'll find out so much, even about those who are really hyped up, that you'll be shocked by everything that's happened, and you'll curse the war even more than you do today. And a smart person already curses the war today. It should never have been allowed to happen. It needed to be ended as soon as possible, and even now it needs to be ended as soon as possible. And I'll finish the video once again with the most important point for understanding. Zelensky can't stand over and control every fool like that, checking how she counted the eggs or whether she skewered the meat or not. Of course not. And, like with all other issues, he can't and shouldn't know everything. He can't and shouldn't be everywhere at once. He should organize the process in such a way that this doesn't happen. But the way they do it, with Lukashenko's manual control of the state, you'll never achieve that. You fix something in one place and something breaks somewhere else, so you have to run and save the day, putting out fires every time. All of this has ruined our country. And the main question is, if Zelensky has failed on all fronts, what else has he failed at? I'll show you again this week. Subscribe now, hit the bell, and enable all notifications so you don't miss anything. He needs to be replaced as soon as possible. Elections are needed as soon as possible. The war needs to be stopped as soon as possible so that all these people from the front can return home and as few people as possible lose their lives and health. Deal with these bastards and build a completely different country. And here it's not a question of more or less territory. It's a question of having something that can be successful. These bastards and those who cover for them and the names I mentioned today, they don't need any of this, and Zelensky doesn't need it either. He doesn't care what's happening there. All he cares about is staying in power. He and Yermak aren't interested in anything else, but I have some insider info about this. It'll happen this week. Subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching to the end. Bye, friends.